there is, it seems to me, an important sense in which the Palestinian dream is really the culmination of the legitimacy struggle, and that is to have the outcome of the conflict resolved by respecting the relative rights of the two parties, by adjudging what is reasonable, by taking serious account of the relevance of international law. And as soon as you do that, you see that on all the major contested issues, whether it's refugees, Jerusalem, settlements, territory, water rights, on all these questions, international law is overwhelmingly on the side of the Palestinians. And that's been confirmed by the United Nations over and over again. And so it's understandable that the side with the military power that doesn't have law and morality on its side will use its diplomatic muscle to exclude international law from the negotiations. And every peace process that has been attempted has always had that premise, that international law is irrelevant. What's important is the bargaining between these two sides that are so grossly unequal. And therefore, I think as those of us that are committed to a genuine peace for these long suffering people, I think that we have to bring into the discourse this importance of international law and human rights as a guide to identifying what is reasonable. That doesn't mean that there can't be practical compromises made that do take some account of what the actual situation has evolved into. But it must be it must be done with eyes wide open. And it must be done in a recognition that the Palestinians are giving up some of what international law might entitle them to do. And part of that giving up is what I think Jeff Halper has been reminding audiences here in Germany, that to play a constructive role in helping these two peoples escape from the trap of perpetual war is to think and act and feel as if Israel can be held to the same accountability as every other nation in the world. That it is a normal nation, and that it doesn't deserve the prerogative to oppress another people because of its own victimization in the Holocaust. You cannot gain, as tragic as that is and was, it's not an entitlement to oppress another people. And that is an extraordinarily important, if that somehow could become existentially relevant in Germany and in a less intense way in the United States as well. Because all of the liberal democracies have been under this cloud of indirect guilt for the Holocaust. They have felt that they didn't do anything to allow Jewish refugees to enter their countries. They didn't bomb the railroad tracks to the death camps. They were complicit, in other words. But you can't overcome the complicity at the expense of an innocent people. And that's what's been done up to this point. And therefore, if civil society is to really liberate the struggle for a genuine peace, it must include this normalcy, creating a sense of normalcy. And that means accountability to international law and international morality, as well as to the relevance of human rights. Let me end these remarks with two sort of inspirational quotations. One is from the Italian poet Dante, and I think it again speaks, to me at least, to the core of the conflict. And one of his famous lines was, "The hottest place in hell are reserved for those who in times of moral crises maintain their neutrality."
That's very good.
The other remark, which I often end my talks to American audiences, uses the words of the very fine Jewish philosopher Abraham Heschel, who said, "Few are guilty, but all are responsible."